What's going on, everybody? Welcome to part 14 of the Python 3 basic series, where we have been building a game of tic-tac-toe in order to learn most of the basics in Python. So where we left off, we were kind of bringing everything together. We've got a game sort of functioning, but we still have to connect like the win. We've got some copied code here in the win that we'd like to fix up. Players can play over each other. This is hard-coded. We got to fix that. Stuff like that. So let's go ahead and just get started. So the first thing I think we'll solve is players playing over each other. So the first thing is basically with this input, we can just quickly check the game map and make sure, hey, is anything in that position? Because if something's in that position, we don't want to let someone play there. So all we're going to say is if game map, and then it is row and then column. If game map row column, basically if that doesn't equal 0, that means somebody has played there. So we just want to return this position is occupado. Choose another. Okay, and then we'll also return a false. And then we can kind of make this entire thing, if it doesn't return a game map, let's make it return false. So let's also add return false here and return false here. If we don't do that, basically if you enter anything invalid or hit an error, you lose your turn, which that might be a feature, not a bug. But for now, we'll return false. And we'll just continue giving them an opportunity to fix it. Also, I'm going to remove this definition of game. That doesn't need to be there. Cool. All right, so now this returns false for a variety of reasons. So we need to handle for that as well. So we've got current player, and we can print the current player. Now what we want to do, basically, we'll come down here, and then we're going to ask a question of played, and then we're going to say that's equal false. And then we're going to say, while not played, we're going to attempt to run this block of code. But then, if game is true, so if game, we're going to say played equals true. So this should break us out of our little loop here and switch players, basically. So let's go ahead and test that really quickly. So let's just run this 14. Cool. We'll play at 1-1. Okay, we switched to player 2. Let's just play 1-1 again. Positions occupied. How about 0-1? Bool object is not scriptable. Played game. Bool object. Play, players play. Played equals false. So while it's the case that we've not played, I guess part of the issue here, like if this did return false, later, if you tried to input occupado, see, we were probably getting in trouble really quickly, actually, because if that returns false, the game map has been redefined, and we can't really let that happen. Now, can we? So why don't we'll have to change this ever so slightly to be return game. We need to return game map and the Boolean statement. So let me just, we'll do this. So game map false, and then here we'll return true, and then here game map false, game map false. That way, now we come down here, and when we play the game, we'll also get a return. Now in this case, we don't care about the return. So in Python, if you don't care about one of the things that's going to be returned, you use an underscore. And the underscore just means it doesn't matter, basically. But then down here, game, and then played equals the following. So now, I guess I could just do this. And now let's save that. Let's rerun that and see how we did. So, and I think, and that's why it says bool is not scriptable. I think what was happening is it returns false. We try to play another location, and we're attempting to choose an index in a boolean, which obviously it doesn't exist. So 1 1. Okay, current player 2 1 1. We can't do that spot. How about 0 1? Okay, so now player 2 can play at position 0 1. Okay. I think that worked. We don't have the wins all set up yet, so we also need to account for the win, and we also kind of want to consolidate our win. So our win here, basically we're always doing the exact same thing in the win, and like this line. Now what happens if we stop using 0 as like the space? Like maybe we give it a space, we start formatting things, and we use X's and O's and spaces. Well, if we do that, then we got to come through and change all these. But what's the chance that we're on this screen and we're thinking, oh, there's only 3 things. We change 1, 2, 3, save, exit, and darn it, we forgot this one, right? We're going to be in trouble. So you generally want to consolidate where you can. And again, anytime you've got copied things, it should just be a red flag to you that something is probably wrong. So the next thing I want to do is create a quick little function in here, and we're going to call this define all same, and we pass a list, and we determine, is this thing all the same? So let's just copy any one of these. So L is short for list. That's going to be our parameter. So if that is the case, we return true. Oops, true with a capital T, else return false. And then, rather than being row, we want it to be L, and L, and L, and L. Okay, so this is our nice little function to determine all same. So then, we just need to replace this if all same, and in this case, it's row that we're using. Now, well, let me replace all of these, and then we'll talk about something for a moment. And let me just make sure I get this right. So if, and then this one is, rather than row, it's diags. And then down here, it's the same thing. So I'm just going to copy, paste, and then here it's the same thing, but this time it is a check. Okay. Cool. So we also have, this little statement. Like this statement here is pretty repetitive. So you could maybe also include the print statement here and then pass a parameter of like what type of win it was, maybe. That might be a good idea. I'm not really sure there. Because it's a string, we are like, it's just going to inherently be pretty hard coded, but you might want to do, like, you could probably do that, and then you'd eliminate 4 lines. So anyway, there is that. Now, what we want to do is basically this function also needs to, we need to know, is there a winner? And if there is a winner, we want to also return things. So this is like a, this is a, a function within the function, but here, this function actually doesn't return anything. This returns stuff, but only to this parent function. But here, this function actually only just prints stuff. It doesn't actually do anything. So, if there is a win, we would like to return true. All the more reason why you might want to put this in here and then say who the winner is, and then maybe pass the... I'm still trying to decide if I want to do it. I think I'm going to hold off, but homework, you should do it. It would make more sense. We should just we'd probably want to do that. But anyways, for now, let me just continue this way. Return true. I'd like to wrap up. We could spend forever on tic-tac-toe, and I definitely want to wrap it up. And I want to get you guys out of the basics. I want you guys to go and do your own thing. So I'm going to just say that you probably should also pull that in. But the more important thing for us to have fixed is this, getting this to be an all-in-one spot. Anyway, return true, return true. Okay, and then we want to return true here. Yeah, we could save 8 lines now. Anyway, and then at the end of this function, let's return a false. So how does this work? So basically, if there is a win, the function returns true, and whenever a function returns something, that's it. It's not going to run any further in that function. So like if someone won both horizontally and diagonally, like you just started the game like that, it's not going to get, it's only going to find the horizontal winner. It wouldn't even recognize, it would never get to the code to run diagonal. But if this is not the case, none of these returns will return. You'll get to the end of the function, boom, returns false, which means nobody won. So this makes sense. It makes sense, and it maps to the name of the function pretty well, because win is either false, or if someone won, win is true. Okay, so now what we want to do is if someone has won, so here, while not game 1, we play. And we just continue to play until the play actually works. Great. So then inside of this not game 1, this is where we need to determine if there's been a winner and all that. So first of all, if win, and we want to pass game, if there is a win to the game, first of all, let's go ahead and game 1 equals true. That will that would basically end everything for us. I'm not really sure I want to do that immediately, but the next thing we should do is ask the player, hey, do you want to play again? And so again is just going to be equal to input. The game is over. Would you like to play again? And then we'll just put yes, no in parentheses, add a space here. And then we'll just ask, we'll try to discern what did they want. So if again, and maybe the user had caps entered or whatever. So I always like to, whenever I'm getting text input, I like to kind of normalize it to the extent that we just do lower. And all this does is if there's any uppercase letters, it just lowercases them. You can do the exact same thing with upper. So these are just methods that we can run against a string. But I'm going to go with lower. So if again dot lower is equal to basically yes, we'll just print restarting, because play, where's my mouse? Play is equal to true. So so this loop here is just going to run forever. Okay. So if they said yes, we just restart, and we're going to bop all the way, because now this, let's see, this loop is over with, right? This loop is over with. So then we come back up here, we start with a fresh game, and the cycle continues. But if again dot lower is equal to n, what would we like to do? Well, they don't want to play anymore, so bye. Right? And then we can set play equals false, and then we're done. Now, one thing to take note with is if this is true, it's going to print restarting, and it's still going to get to this and run this statement. So instead what we probably should say is elif. So if something's the case, else, if something else is the case, is what elif kind of means. Now, possibly, this doesn't handle for everything. So possibly the user, maybe they hit B, okay? So we want to handle for if the user has fat fingers. We want to say not a valid answer, so see you later, alligator. Okay, play equals false. So then, we actually could condense this quite a bit. We could have probably said, instead of that block, we actually probably could have said if again dot lower equals n. Let's see, how could I, let's see. I guess really what we could have said is y else by, or something like that. Anyways, well, I'll leave it here. Okay, so now we can exit the game and be done with the game if we so choose. So let's test this code really quickly because we've been writing a lot of junk. So let's do 0, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, and then 2, 1. So player 1 should win. Did I screw something up? What happened? 2, 1. I have no idea what just happened. 0. We definitely want, let's see, column, and this player 1, column 1, row 2. Woo! Player 1 is the winner vertically. The game is over. Would you like to play again? Let's hit no. I just want to test that first. Bye. Okay, great. And then now let's just do the same thing again. 0, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 1, 0, 2. Okay. Player 1 won. Let's play again and just see that it refreshes the game. Okay, it does. Player 1 continues. 2, 1. Okay. Okay, great. So that's looking good. So what else do we have now? The next thing would be, I think, for us to looking for some water. The next thing would be for us to fix this. Okay. I'm trying to think. Do we have anything else, or is that the last thing? I think that's the last thing besides this. We really should consolidate that. I'm probably not going to do it in this video, but we really probably should. I really think that's it. Like, that's the last thing I want to do. So let's talk about that string. So I've left my testing grounds. So let's talk about the rule of this string. So first of all, let me go get it. Because this is the string we're going to attempt to do. And then let's just say game size equals 3. Okay, so what's the rules of this string? Well, we started with 1, 2, 3 spaces, and then each number increments by 1, and then we have 1, 2 spaces between them. So the first thing that we could say is like S, and then S could equal, let's say 1, 2, 3, because we start with 3 spaces. And then for I in range of game size. So this would be another example where I is completely, let's see. Well, actually I is important in this one. I was about to tell you, you could use an underscore. Don't do that. Okay, for I in range game size, we would like to S plus equals, and then it's the string version of I plus 2 spaces. So space, space, right? And then we could print S, and then we can see, so the first one gets printed out, and then this is the second one we calculated. Okay, so that makes sense. The other thing is, you could look at it another way where it's actually 1 space and then 2 spaces lead before, because actually what we've just written is 3 spaces, and then what it's actually printing out is this. So it's actually not the same. So if we led with 1 space and then said plus 2 spaces and then the number, it's probably a little more 2 spaces plus string I. That's a little more true to what is going on here. Now, the next thing is, so this is, let's make sure. Yeah, so that's a valid way we could build that. Now, if you want, you can stick with that. Otherwise, you also could say, it could be, like we could build this all in like one line. So one option we have with strings is to join, and we can join a list comprehension. So I'm going to show you guys, but just know a list comprehension, like in this case, you know, it could be, let me just show you. because I think we have actually done one list comprehension here. But S could be equal to, so 1, 2, 3. So 3 spaces dot join, or actually, let's see here. 3 spaces. Let's make it. Let's do this first. Join, and then use a list comprehension. So let's just say string I for I in range of game size. Oh, we never printed S. Print S. Okay, 0, 1, 2. So then let's do, because we know it's 2 spaces of padding to join. Okay, so then we have 0, 1, 2. Those are spaced correctly. So now we just need to do, and then 3 spaces. Boom. Okay, so that's another way, and that's a way we could do it all in one beautiful line. So again, this is going to be a case of like who's on your team and who's reading your code, and do they need to understand this line? Because anybody who's like an intermediate and above Python programmer, they're going to understand what join does, and they're going to understand list comprehension. If you're working with people that are just getting started, they might not understand this. This might be really confusing. So depending on who you're working with, you can use one of the other methods or not. So let's come over here, and now we use that. Oops. No, wait. We're going to just print it. So, so we'll just do print. Boom. Okay. Let's come back up here. Let's run it. Let's make sure. Uh-oh. Game size not defined, of course. For I in range len game map. Save that. Let's come back over here. Break. Len again. Okay. There's our beautiful game. Lovely. Okay, so now in theory, you could make a bigger game. Now, depending on, now somebody mentioned you could use NumPy zeros. Here's a problem. You could use NumPy zeros, and if you're not familiar with NumPy zeros, that's totally fine. NumPy is a third-party package, which we haven't really talked about installing third-party packages, but if you want to, you can either use pip install, package name, or you could do pi-3.7 for the specific version of Python, -m pip install, and then the package. So let's grab NumPy really quick. And NumPy is a number crunching library. And we'll see if this even works, because we do have 64-bit Python. Historically, this was always really hard to get 64-bit packages like NumPy that are like C, Python wrappers around C code. But I believe that's all been fixed. We're about to find out. Wait for it. Okay, we've got NumPy. So, and that's kind of why like people always say like, oh, you should use Anaconda or these other packages that are like a standalone installation of Python. I don't really agree, because it actually gets pretty challenging sometimes with those. But anyways, okay, we grabbed NumPy. Let's just check. Let me show you what NumPy does. pi-3.7 here. We can import NumPy as NP. And NumPy has all kinds of mathematical operations for you. So if you're into like math and stats and stuff, NumPy is your best friend. But for now, there is a method in NumPy called NumPy zeros. So it starts you off with an array with n number of zeros. So we could say 5, and it's going to return 5 zeros. We could also give it a shape. So 5, it's just a 1D array or one-dimensional array. You could say NumPy zeros, and then we could specify a tuple here, so a 5 by 5. Or let me show you a 3 by 3, because that's really what I'm trying to get at anyways. So there's a 3 by 3. But this is an array. It's not pretty. It's not going to look good on our screen when we show it. It's going to be hard to format. We got to reformat like all our numbers and stuff. So I don't really want to do it. You could convert it to a list. So you could do np0s.toList, and then it looks like that, and then you could iterate, but again, it's 0.0. So then you could go and remove the decimal and blah, 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 blah. It would be freaking annoying. So I don't think NumPy zeros is the good idea, but I know if I don't say something about it, someone's gonna be like, but you could use NumPy zeros. Okay, but I can't. All right, so glad we figured that one out. So coming back over here, okay, we got our dynamic size. And honestly, TicTacToe is done. If you're done with TicTacToe, you are free to leave at any point. Honestly, you've learned all the basics you need. There's only one more basic concept, and eventually we could probably cover it, but it's dictionaries. And dictionaries are just a way to have keys and values. So key 1, 15, key 2, 32, dictionaries. Key 1 is how you would reference 15. So if we printed that really quick, you'd see 15. You can also set new values. Dictionaries, you could say hi there equals 92. And then let's just print dictionaries so you can see what I'm yakking about. Boom, it's been added. Okay, there you go. Dictionaries in like 2 seconds. I was hoping we would find a use for a dictionary. I just didn't. So there's lots of stuff that we still have yet to cover. We didn't cover all the built-in functions either. But I do think the data type of, or the storage of dictionaries is pretty important. So there you go, dictionaries. Okay, so now we're really done. But I just kind of want to play around now and make the game size dynamic. So again, tutorial's over. You want to get out of here. Go on, get. But we're going to make the game size dynamic. So let's say, okay, we'll keep game size variable. Let's say our game is going to be an empty list. Then what we could say is for I in range of the game size, we're going to say row is an empty row. For I in range, also game size, we're just kind of assume the game is square. Row.append 0. And then when we're all done with that, game.append row. Bada boom, bada bing, print game. Okay, we got a 3 by 3. We want a 5 by 5. Boom, done. 5 by 5. Okay, now, while I still have you, just for the record, you can, again, oh man, see, like on my computer, I go to pythonprogramming.net more than I go to python.org, so it always comes up. But don't forget, you can always just search like list comprehension and learn more about list comprehension if you want to learn more about how that works and how this works. But I'm going to take this list, put it on one line, because it's important we get this tic-tac-toe game done in under 100 lines. And actually, we kind of did it already. But I want to add the dynamic game size, and that's going to push us over 100 lines. And it's really important that we stay under 100. It matters. And let's see, define 2 things. Yeah. There's definitely going to have to be at least one more tutorial, because we're going to have to talk about Sublime packages and stuff too. I forgot about that. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so we're going to move this to be a one-liner for loop. So first of all, this will just be, it's like this here would be, let me just write it out. Okay, so it would be for I in range, game size would be one of the things. So in this case, it won't be normally it would be like I for I if you were going to write a thing. But instead, actually, it's this, collection of zeros. So then it's actually this list for I in range game size. So how many lists do we want of these zeros? Well, we want as many as for I in range game size. So I'm going to build this list. And this one is 0 for I in range game size. And now it's just one big list comprehension. So boom, boom, we say game equals, and I'm going to comment these out just to show, whoops, too far, print game. Okay, we've done it. Now okay, we printed. I was like, well, I'm curious why it came up twice. That didn't make any sense. Okay, so now we have ourselves totally dynamic game. So then you could have, you could say game size equals input, what size game of tic-tac-toe? Input Great. Okay, now they can do it. So now we can come over here, copy that, come down to game here, paste it in, tab this over. Close that. Are we good? Yeah, 99. Good, good, good. Okay, let's save that. Come over here. Quit. And tutorial 14. What size game? A 2x2. Oh. Okay, so our input, this needs to be an int. Save. You guys said you wanted longer tutorials. I'm just saying. 2. Cool. So it's a so 0, 0, and then let's do 0, 1 for player 2, and then 1, 1. Player 1 is the winner. So not only is our game, itself dynamic, we also have the game size. All the wins are dynamic, so you could play any sized game, tic-tac-toe, whatever your heart desires. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we have gone ahead and made the most absurd game of dynamic tic-tac-toe. I think that's it. I don't think I want to go any further. There's so much stuff that we really could do, though. We could go and convert this, before we display it, we could convert zeros to spaces and ones to X's and twos to O's. We could do colors, like we could use the Colorama package with Python and make, player 1 green and player 2, I don't know, purple or some other color, orange, and then, have space. We can make it look really good. We could do a lot. But I think I'm going to stop it here with tic-tac-toe. If you want to continue improving it and share it, please do feel free to post it in the comments, post it in the discord.gg/Centex, wherever you want. And I think now I've got one more tutorial in store for you. I'd like to install a third-party package besides NumPy that we installed real quickly just to run an example, kind of show you going through documentation and stuff like that. But everything all in like one video. I still haven't decided really what I want to do, if it's going to be like pandas with data analysis or Flask for a quick web dev example. I really don't know. But if you got, it's probably by the time you see this video, I'll have already decided. So, but you can leave it below if you wanted, but I'll probably have already decided. But yeah, probably just one more video on that. And then honestly, get out of here. Go do stuff that's interesting to you. You could even probably leave right now. But if you want to check out that other video, the next video, go for it. Otherwise, go to pythonprogram.net, get some ideas for what you want to do, even if you don't want to follow these exact tutorials. There's just so much stuff that you can do in Python that you just shouldn't be in the basics anymore. I think you've got enough. Anytime you hit an error, Google it. You want to do something in Python, Google it. It's pretty simple. So anyways, next video, really just kind of wrapping up the series. But if you got questions, comments, concerns, whatever, do feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the hopefully last basics video you watch and basics tutorial you do. I'll see you next time.